AI agents are already doing real work. So do they still fail so often? If you still think AI agents are just smarter chatbots, you are already behind. The US government does not launch standards work for science fiction. In 2026, NIST launched an AI agent standards initiative because these systems can already act autonomously, manage email and calendars, shop online, and work across digital tools on ours' behalf. So the real question is not whether AI agents are coming. It is whether regular Americans understand what these systems can do before their workplace, their competitors, or thieves they use every day move first. And that is the part most people get wrong. A chatbot talks. An agent does. It can search, compare, click, draft, update, and trigger actions across software. That difference matters because the moment I stops being only a writing tool and starts becoming an action tool, the stakes change. You are no longer asking, can it give me a decent answer? You are asking, should I trust it with Minbox, my schedule, my browser, my customers, or my money? That is a completely different level of risk and a completely different level of value. Now here is the first surprising fact. In the United States, adoption is already, but full replacement is not. Pew found that 21% of US workers say at least some of their work is already done with AI. At the same time, only 2% say all or most of their work is done with AI. And the Census Bureau found that from late 2025 into spring 2026, roughly 17 to 20% of businesses reported using AI in at least one business function. So yes, the wave is here. But no, most Americans have not handed over the keys. Not yet. The second fact is even more unsettling. The capability jump is real. Stanford's 2026 AI Index says AI agents moved from just answering questions to completing tasks. On the Oswald benchmark, their accuracy jumped from about 12% to 66.3% in 1 year. That is a massive leap. But Stanford also says they still fail really 1 out of every 3 attempts on structured benchmarks. METR's latest measurements show that frontier agents are now operating on task horizons measured in hours, not just minutes. One GPT-5 agent measurement lands around 2 hours and 17 minutes at the 50% success level on its software task suite. In plain English, these systems are getting dramatically stronger, but they are nowhere near trustworthy enough to run world. And this is where the public conversation gets distorted. People hear hours of autonomous work and imagine that office jobs are basically over. But METR explicitly warns against that conclusion. Their benchmark is mostly narrow, well-specified software, machine learning, and cybersecurity work, often like what a new hire or contractor could do with limited context. Real jobs are messier. They involve trust, social judgment, tacit knowledge, and strange edge cases. That is why another surprising signal matters. Anthropic's economic research has found that augmentation still plays a major role in how people actually use advanced AI systems. And Pew found US workers are more worried than hopeful about AI's long-term effect on their own job opportunities. The story is not humans out. The story is humans who supervise well may pull ahead. But the deepest issue is not raw intelligence. It is permission. NIST's 2026 work on AI agents keeps returning to the same problem. Identity, authority, authorization, auditing, and prompt injection. In other words, the real danger begins when an agent can actually touch systems that matter. And this is not theoretical. US databases like the National Vulnerability Database already contain 2026 examples of agent-style assistance hit by indirect prompt injection problems. One email-based case could become a kind of zero-click attack. That means the scariest part of agents is not that they think like a human. It is that they can act across your tools while being tricked by untrusted input. That leads to the central contradiction of the entire agent boom. The more useful an agent becomes, the more dangerous careless deployment becomes. Give it no access and it is a toy. Give it broad access and it can become an excellent source of errors, leaks, or bad decisions. That is exactly why NIST is pushing for secure and interoperable standards. It is why researchers are talking about continuous monitoring instead of one-time guardrails. And it is why the Federal Trade Commission has already shown it is willing to challenge unsupported performance claims in the US market. Americans are being sold speed, but the thing that will decide who wins is not speed alone. It is evidence, limits, logging, and oversight. So what does this mean for an ordinary person? If you are a worker, use agents first for bounded tasks. Research a company. Summarize long documents. Organize your applications. Draft follow-ups. Compare options. Or prepare a first pass you can inspect. If you run a small business, start where mistakes are cheap and visible. Use agents for lead sorting, frequently asked question drafts, internal summaries, appointment preparation, or structured reporting. And if a tool wants direct access to your inbox files, purchasing flows, or customer records, slow down, narrow the permissions, require approvals, check the logs. Even no-code platforms building agent workflows now advertise guardrails, like manual approval, memory limits, and debugging for exactly this reason. Because the biggest mistake you can make in 2026 is joining one of two lazy camps. Camp 1 says agents are overhyped. Camp 2 says they are ready to replace people wholesale. Both are wrong. Agents are more powerful than skeptics think and less reliable than evangelists imply. They are not magic employees. They are more like tireless junior operators with incredible speed, limited judgment, uneven reliability, and a constant need for boundaries. The Americans who benefit most from this shift will not be the first people to trust agents completely. They will be the first people to use them deliberately, supervise them intelligently, and know exactly when not to let them act. So here is the question that matters now. If I can already act for you, but still fails often enough to create real risk, how much control are you willing to hand over before convenience turns into dependency?